So we need to address all components, and I always encourage people to focus their time, not eliminate everything else, but to focus most of their effort on the area in which they're weak. And that's because, well, like if you are fast already, you are not necessarily going to gain more performance by trying to be just faster because you're already fast. But the things, like instead of trying to think about what are the things that will make you faster or add more fuel to the fire or more gasoline to the engine, we need to also consider what are the things that are putting brakes on you, right? Like what is the things that are slowing you down? And so, for example, if you have somebody that's super strong, um, and they are a sprinter, uh, and they have great turnover cadence. So that their ability to hit the ground in a number of times in a given time period, um, that's already high. Well, what is the next best way if that person is super strong, has a good cadence, but they're not very flexible? Well, what happens when you increase their flexibility at the hip and knee and ankle? Well, you increase their stride length. So if I take somebody who is really strong and he can hit the ground, say in a 100-meter race, he can hit the ground 100 times, right? But all of a sudden, I take that person from having a 2-meter stride and I turn them into somebody who has a 2.5-meter stride simply by increasing the flexibility of the hip, knee, and ankle joints. Right now, I've taken that person and taken them from somebody who, in the world 100-meter finals, didn't qualify, and then I make them into somebody who could potentially be racing against, um, what's his face there, Usain Bolt, right? And I've addressed their weakness. I've treated the deficit that they had and used that to improve their performance. So you by focusing on the weak aspect, you and spending a lot of your time there, I think you get more bang for buck. Right? It's like the law of diminishing returns. You're already almost maxed out on the speed, so spending more time on speed or strength won't necessarily help you. But spending more time on that thing that is week will give you more bang for your buck in the end. So I just try to encourage athletes to work on their weaknesses. And generally speaking, because athletes tend to spend more time on bigger, faster, stronger, it's usually their flexibility. And if their flexibility is poor, then for sure their mobility is going to be shit. And so I try and get them to work on those two things. And I try to get them to incorporate them. So if you, like when we're training in our facility, so when we do classes, so I share some of the teaching duties at our gym, and I teach every third weekend. And on when I'm doing my classes, I do them in the way that we do them sort of in our organization. And what we do is we have our warm up, then we do what we call structural work. We have strength work, and then we have our cool down, our cardio, our conditioning work, and then cool down. So the structural for us is our mobility work. And so the mobility work, so we've warmed up, we have our muscles warmed up, and the mobility work is focused around things that we're going to be doing in our strength session. And it's dynamic.